Hey guys, Darren here. Welcome to Mayhem Country Living. I want to show you what we are working on today. There we go. Bam. We are putting dry goods into Mylar bags and storing them. We're going to go over how I do it. It might not be the way you do it. Might not be the best way to do it, I guess, in some conditions. But this is how we do it. And I've had very, very good results with it. Here's some that we have stored. You might be able to see it with the reflective. These are 4 years old, and we routinely go through these and cycle through them and use them in our regular everyday. We have a deep pantry system. We have long-term food storage. We have quite a bit of beans and rice in our deep pantry system, so these are going to go into our long-term food storage. We're going to be putting them in Mylar bags, putting them in a big bag, put them in the bucket. Then we are going to get an oxygen absorber, which hand warmers are actually really good oxygen absorbers. Buy them at the end of winter. You can get them for like 50 cents a piece. Open this guy up, throw it in the bottom, wrap the bag up, put the lid on it. You have to cut the lid off to get it open because it will have, as this thing generates heat, it draws moisture out, and it also draws the oxygen because this is just an oxide. It rusts. So, enough on that. We're using really good Mylar bags with reclosable Ziploc tops. These were donated by a buddy of mine, Scott Coffer. So thank you, Scott. Told you I was getting around to getting these things going. And these things are really good. They're very heavy duty. I have been using these, which are a little bit thinner grade. And they have just the heat shrink top. Now, going back to these, we are going to heat shrink the top of this as well. There's all kinds of different ways to do that. We'll go into that. You don't have to store beans and rice and pasta and everything in these Mylar bags. You don't have to do it. If you have the space, mason jars work just as good. They're 15 bucks for quarts, and you can get a good bit stored. If you wanted to, you could heat the jars up, pour the contents in. Of course, they're dry. This is not a method of canning. This is just a storage. And then put the caps on, and as they cool, draws down. Pulls a little bit of a vacuum. That's a good way to do it. But we're going to store these. We're going to put in oxygen absorbers, which are going to really help us go the extra mile in the storage. Now let me tell you something about these oxygen absorbers. These and these absorb oxygen. They do not absorb air. How much oxygen is in the air? About 28%. The air is about 70% nitrogen that we breathe. And then maybe 2% inert, and nowadays, who knows how many toxic chemicals. But, so the bags don't have to draw down to a complete vacuum. As long as you have an oxygen absorber. If you wanted to, you could double it up and draw a good vacuum on the bags. You can do that, absolutely, and it's not a problem. But we're not going to do that. I'll show you. I'll get everything started and set up, and show you how I do it. Okay? Okay guys, now we're back, and I want to show you. I have the instructions written on here for whomever opens it up, and I'll just read it to you. Put the date on it, of course, contents, and the amount. 227.22, it's enriched rice. 2 cups. Use 1 cup, half of the contents of this bag, and 2 cups of water. Boil, simmer, cover 15 minutes. Pretty basic instructions and everything. Here's the thing, if you don't know how to cook beans and rice, and not making any disparaging comments, if you don't know how to cook beans and rice, you really shouldn't be storing beans and rice until you know how to cook beans and rice. It's easy to do it. a lot of times, if I have the time, I will copy the instructions as well as the nutritional value, and I will put it in each one. As it sits, I bought a 10-pound bag of rice here, and we're going to take this thing, fold it up, and put it on top of the bag inside the 5-gallon bucket. That way, when whomever opens it up, they'll have nutritional value and calorie count. And that way, you can kind of average out calories per serving per meal, kind of thing. But again, this is really easy. These guys, this is not hard to do. You want to know how to get prepared? Buy you a bunch of beans and rice and pasta. Put it in Mylar bags with oxygen absorbers, and put it in 5-gallon buckets. Store it in a cool, dry place. Lasts you a very, very, very long time. There we go. And then we pour in the rice. Now here's something you might want to consider putting this in each of your 5-gallon buckets of dry goods. Collapsible cup. Don't break. You can figure out a rough amount. There we go. This is 1 cup of rice. That is also 1 cup of rice. Figure out how to do it. You can do it either way. You could also get a plastic measuring cup. Just depends on how much they are, where you can find them. There we go. Now, once you open the oxygen absorbers up, you're on kind of a time crunch because it's absorbing oxygen from the atmosphere as it's. When it starts out, it will be pink. When it absorbs all the oxygen it can, it turns blue. And that's how you know. Now, like I said, there are a million different ways to do this, and we're going to use our food saver. Actually, I'll pause you and turn you around. All right, here we go. This is the heat sealer. And now it'll pop up when it's finished. And we are sealed. More to come. If you do not have a heat sealer, you can use a curling iron. A fat one, a thin one, it does not really matter. Just let it heat up. Let it heat up. A little bit more. There we go. And that is super seal. Now, set this in the pile here, and then we will proceed to the next one. All right, guys, we're back, and here is the third way. It's just with a regular household iron. Get a 2x4. And you are sealed. The iron works really good sealing up the bulk 5-gallon bucket bags also. Okay guys, that is basically it. Wash, rinse, repeat. This works really well for all kinds of dry goods, everything from any kind of bean, rice, pasta. One caveat, when you put pasta in one of these bags, you might want to put it actually in a small paper sack first to give it an extra layer so the edges of the pasta won't cut through the Mylar. Going to wrap this up. If you have any questions or comments or anything like that, leave them below. How do you store your long-term food preps? How do you store your deep pantry system? Do you have a deep pantry system? I cannot do a whole lot about what is going on in the rest of the country. I can focus on making sure my family and my group are taken care of. Food, water, shelter, safety, security, that kind of stuff. Take care of yours. One more quick tip before we go, guys. You can really enhance the flavor just by adding packets of seasoning, onion soup mix, Old Bay seasoning, bay leaves, cayenne pepper. Any kind of seasoning will go so much further in increasing the edibility of all of these beans and rice.